Anyways, hi, folks. Welcome to the FUBAR Sports Show once again. I know it's been forever. Bret has more gray in his beard because how long we've done a show. It's been like 9 years.
Been
So
waiting.
we are back. Our volatile work schedules. Bret doing overtime. Me working night shift every other 2 weeks. Life hates us. So they're trying to keep us from you, but it won't happen. But Bret, first, how you doing tonight?
Well, apparently I'm doing better than you because your sink was FUBAR today. The gift Jason Bateman from Horrible Bosses is where I felt like me being a homeowner, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. I love being a homeowner. And the next thing you know, the home's like the FUBAR ain't gonna happen. And it's like every time we get a project done and we try to better the house, it's like the house, like basically to me, like tries to commit suicide. Like, no, you're not. You're not leaving us. You're not bettering us to sell the house. Never. So, yeah, had to fix a sink, a couple pipes below. Woo! That was a project. But
this done before the show. But hold on, we have a special guest tonight.
Football's back.
Mr.
Football's back.
Evan Costanza. I know his last name, but I like calling him Costanza.
I go by Costanza. By the way, thanks for you calling me Costanza. Every meme I do is Costanza. I love it.
I think it's a great nickname. It's awesome. It's
awesome.
Great. I love it.
I love it. It's honestly, I adapt to it. I love it. I act like him. I love it. Great. I could watch Costanza all day.
Oh yeah.
No.
See, I'm
awesome. I'm happy to be with you guys. NFL's back. Oh, yeah. It's awesome, and I hope your sink's all better. Trust me. Every time something breaks in my house, I just want to sell my freaking house. Oh my God, every time.
We end up getting a Moen at Lowe's. I went to Lowe's real quick, picked that up. Wife said I want that.
Moen's a good brand.
Oh, hey Bobby, thanks you for not joining us tonight. It's okay.
You know, actually, to tell you a story about Bobby
doesn't love
he got nervous. He actually saw him pop in here because he was nervous we were late and he thought I forgot to produce the show. I guarantee you that's why he was here. I go, we like to make Bobby. Ears must have been burning. We were making fun of you for the last 10 minutes.
You tell him he should have been in here too, but guess what? He didn't want to come in. Hey, go enjoy family time. I don't want to hear nothing. But anyway,
I'm here for you, buddy. I'm here for you always.
Week 1 is here. We had a game last night. And
what an awful game. What an awful game. No offense.
The team that won, I'm going to go ahead and start off with a quote that starts off with this. And it's how the game went. It's what team won. It's see if you can guess the person who said it. It's from a movie, one of my favorite movies. This crowd has gone deadly silent. The Cinderella story out of nowhere. Former greenskeeper and tight end. Now to become the Masters champion and Week 1 champion. It's in the hole. It's in the hole. Anyone guess the movie and the character?
Caddyshack?
Huh?
Is that Caddyshack?
Okay, who's the character?
It's not Bill Murray, is it? No, it's...
I hate you.
Bill Murray would be the one announcing, wouldn't it?
Announcing it. Bill Murray announced it. Who's the character?
The actor, but what's the character's name?
Oh, Jesus.
I hate you.
You have to give it away.
Carl Spackler.
Yeah.
Carl Spackler. Come on.
By the way, can we just get out of the way that game was awful?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, all right, Mahomes only could do so much. The guy threw the ball where it was supposed to go. Tony, I don't know if he took some of Rogers' Ayusaka. I don't know if he was drinking a fifth of Crown before the game, but his hands were horrible. Like, it was just the whole hype around him being the next guy.
Because of the Super Bowl.
Kelsey being gone, it was horrible. And the Lions were literally trying to give the game back to the Chiefs for 57 minutes before they closed the game out last night.
Both teams combined were 10 for 29 on third down. Yeah. The Chiefs were 5 for 14. The Lions were 5 for 15.
What was Mahomes? Two of something? I think he had 2 completions in the second half.
Yeah, I think the two.
But there were a lot of drops. Like Mahomes was playing fine. Like
he underthrew one. I don't know if you saw in the second.
One pass.
He really underthrown.
Mahomes
I
played
think he was
fine.
just pissed. I think he was
He had
just
command
pissed.
of the pocket. He threw the ball, and there's still times where you're just like, Mahomes doesn't need his tight ends. And then Gray was stepping up, making some plays. But, you got to give the Lions some credit. They played good defense. They contained Mahomes in the second half. They adjusted in the second half. Dan Campbell came out in the second half, and they interviewed him. He said, we give the ball away. We fumble it. We're shooting ourselves in the foot of third down. We have to settle down. And they actually did better the second half of third down. But, they came in, and then he said, you got to contain Mahomes. And then they did a good job of keeping Mahomes in the pocket. And obviously it was easier without Travis Kelce, but I don't like how Mike Tirico said an asterisk on that game because Jones and Travis Kelce weren't there. So that's football. Injuries happen. There's no excuses.
Next man up.
Have an elite quarterback. It was a good game, and hats off to Dan Campbell, which I want to touch on that later on the show, for building this physical team who's not afraid to go against anybody. We know the Chiefs are going nowhere. We know the Chiefs are going to be in it. And no matter whether the Chiefs have a down season after winning the Super Bowl and an adjustment year, they're still going to be a team to reckon with, no matter what. They're going to be in the hunt. They're going to be in the playoff team. They're going to be like the Steelers and the Ravens, who are always in it, always a team you don't look over. And the Lions went in there on the road against Super Bowl champs, and they went down. They started up. Then the Chiefs were up by.
It was this. The Lions did this last night.
I think while the game wasn't pretty, I think you saw two playoff teams battling it out. And
Lions are making the playoffs, no doubt.
That was an effort. I mean, the Lions offense wasn't perfect, but they were moving the ball and they shot themselves in the foot a couple times. But it was a good game, but it wasn't as exciting as people wanted, but it was a little bit more physical than people expected. Like, they didn't expect the Chiefs and Lions to both play good defense. It wasn't something to expect, but the Chiefs have a good young core on their defense. They haven't done a great job of building that defense and that team, and they've done a good job all around. It's just their offense is transitioning, but they still did good, and they could be without Kelce for the season. Do not sleep on Andy Reid in that offense. He will run that offense well. So that's just my take on it.
I think they're going to shut. So this is my thing. Every time I've seen Reid have like a game like this where his receivers didn't go up to par or they weren't catching or if running backs weren't performing, what does he do? He reshuffles the depth chart. So next week, you're not going to have Marquez Valdez-Scantling showed out. I'll give him that. That dude caught some tough passes last night. Outside of him, it was kind of rough because, Rashee Rice had a couple nice catches. Justin Ross had one. But the thing is, you're going to see those rookies jump up. Because Darius Toney ruined, to me, his best chance to take that lead role because Kelce's going to retire soon. If you're going to be working in this offense, that's why. So
and let's not forget that Kadarius Toney was traded from a team that right now could probably still use wide receiver
attitude problems.
Yeah, so that team that drafted him and traded him still needs wide receiver help, and they have some young wide receivers but they could use wide receiver help, so they got rid of him. So there's a reason they moved on, and attitude problem, head problems. Then he got into it with fans on Twitter. So obviously, his head's not focused on it. So whatever's going on with him, he's a talented receiver. He's a shifty guy, but he's got to get his head right. And right now, and Andy Reid has been known to do that, but right now, Rice, it definitely showed up. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's been
more showed up. He dropped one later, but he's still catching everything.
Pacheco and
McKinnon had a couple of catches too.
McKinnon's that guy. He's and Andy Reid's used these guys like this before. Like I remember Correll Buckhalter back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't an elite running back, wasn't a top 10, but he did his job. He had that role where he was a little bit versatile. He was decent power, decent receiver.
No, the receiving room wouldn't get better, Anthony.
Yeah. And then Pacheco was good. Pacheco did really good. He's a good running back for them, explosive playmaker for them. So they still have the weapons. Obviously Kelce makes the offense even better. Elite tight ends make a team better. I don't care how I would take an elite tight end over an elite receiver all day, every single time. I don't care. Because if you look at the Patriots offense, name one elite wide receiver they had. I mean, you could maybe say Edelman, but it was Gronkowski that changed that.
Wes Welker was their best. Oh, they had Randy Moss, but they didn't win with him.
Right. Right, but when they had Gronk,
He's still elite.
Gronk was their best weapon for a long time.
Oh yeah, it was the same
And-
thing when we went down to Tampa.
And
Yeah.
an elite tight end. Look at the Chiefs back in the day with Tony Gonzalez. Their best receiver was Eddie Kennison. Like it was Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates. Like an elite tight end it changes your offense, and not having them is not an excuse to lose. So I hate that Trika said there's an asterisk on the Lions. And then on the flip side of the Lions, they have Brock Wright, who was good last year as a rookie tight end, and Sam Laporta, young tight end, rookie tight end. He showed out making plays.
He did. Jack Campbell showed up.
Yep.
Brand showed up.
Gibbs showed up. Gibbs
showed up. And then their rookies from last year, their young players showed up. St. Brown showed up.
St. Brown's always going to show up.
Goff was not great last night, though.
No, he wasn't great. But see, that's the thing that golf is like, he is who he is.
Yeah.
And he's efficient. And that's where it's going to be like Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's like, is it going to be enough? And that's why the Rams kind of moved on, where they like Jared Goff, but they don't know that they could get over that hurdle with him.
Shout out to Steve Spagnuolo for dialing up blitzes and not getting the pressure with Chris Jones because he was out. So you have to bring in corners, safeties to blitz, and being able to drop outside linebackers in the cut. Like Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coordinators.
And he has two fast young linebackers in Bolton and Gay, and those two, he knows how to use those two really well.
I understand the Lions won, but that hit he had.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I have a quick question about the offense. Did you feel any sense of difference? I know Andy Reid runs it. Did you feel a difference between the enemy not being there anymore with Matt Nagy? Do you see a difference?
No, it's still the Andy Reid offense.
Okay. So they're just a piece there, like they're just like a figurehead essentially, or do you?
The enemy had a part when he was there. Don't get me wrong,
Matt Nagy.
But the thing is, Nagy's been there prior, and he's had success being under with Reid before. So it's not like he's never had success there before.
Nagy's got a bad rap in Chicago, even though he was
dealt with Mitch Trubisky.
He went to the playoffs twice with the Bears.
Garbage.
Garbage. Matt Nagy is not a bad coach at all. And so, no, they're not figureheads. So Andy Reid is one of the best coaches in the NFL for not only coaching and developing players, but he develops coaches as well.
Yeah, Anthony, they have Hendon Hooker. Sorry, Brett, I just want to answer.
Yeah.
Now, what about Teddy B?
QB number 50 as a QB number?
But you have the thing with Andy Reid. He comes from the Holmgren tree, who comes from the Bill Walsh tree, who's always developing. And Dave, you guys were same age as me, so you remember the Holmgren tree and all the guys that came from there. Yeah. And Andy Reid comes from that. Andy Reid always develops guys and teaches guys and gives them a second chance and always takes them under his wing. And he's just that kind of guy.
QB's going through Green Bay. You had Aaron Brooks. You had Mark Brunell.
Yep. And they all played for Andy Reid. Brett Favre, all of them. And everybody – you guys have heard my rants on the NFL and how I've talked bad, not bad about that, but there's the real of it is there's a lot of questionable people in the league. Andy Reid is one of the few people in this league that is an actual good person. Some people that actually look up to Reid.
He loves cheeseburgers. How do you not love that?
I mean, he's that kind of guy. You guys remember Mike Leach? I love Mike Leach because he was unapologetically Mike Leach, right? Andy Reid is unapologetically Andy Reid, and he's just a nice guy. And he's just always going to be the guy, and people look up to him. And I think the Chiefs would be all right. But then we want to talk about head coaches that I got on that. Dan Campbell has done a fantastic job of identifying what he wanted to do with the football team and how he wanted to run it. I was in Philly when Dan Campbell led the Dolphins to a win over the Eagles, and you felt a difference. You felt it was a physical game. Eagle fans were happy because they wanted Chip Kelly gone. So you felt a difference there. You felt the energy of physicality, and Dan Campbell changed the energy, and he's changed the energy in Detroit. That team is ready to get in a fist fight. They're ready to fight. They're physical on the front seven. They're physical in the offensive line. They're physical in the run game.
Can I give another half shout out on that?
Physical. And you players want to play for Dan Campbell, and you just love to see that.
Not just Campbell. I've been telling people for 2 years, Campbell was a good, solid piece. But to me, the biggest piece, Brad Holmes. This guy with huge connections and everything. He was the back part of Les Snead that no one really gave credit to. So when he went from the Rams to the Lions, I'm like, Elijah's got a good GM. And everyone's like, no, it's the same old. I'm like, nope.
Give it 2 years, 3 years, and you're going to see the Lions have a rebuilt culture. You're going to have talent brought in.
Mhm.
Holmes is a hell of a GM, and everyone said, and I'm going to eat my crow. I said, you're taking Gibbs that early? You're taking Campbell that early? I'm eating
Right.
crow because they showed
But-
out last night. They just beat the defending world champs.
What did I tell you guys? Like, what did I tell you guys on the draft?
Brad Holmes
They fit.
is a hell of a
They
GM.
fit. And what they do, they lost Swift, right? He's been banged up, and Dan Campbell wanted to keep
Peanut
Swift
brittle.
because he loves Swift. But what did they do? They went and replaced his touches in his role with Gibbs, and then they lost Jamal Williams, and Dan Campbell really didn't want to get rid of Jamal Williams. But then they went and signed Montgomery, who fits the same kind of role. So they do. It's like Moneyball in that aspect where they're not replacing the player, they're replacing those touches in that role, and they're filling the roles. And they do a good job. And they've identified the physicality. What they want up front is not all first round picks, but they want to be physical up front. They want to be physical on the defensive line. They want to control the line of scrimmage. It's a lot of what the Eagles do. The Eagles win at the line of scrimmage. And they always have good defense, and they don't always draft defensive line high or offensive line high, but they always develop those guys. They always have those guys. Their front seven is always stout. Their offensive line is always stout. The run game's stout. And the Lions are doing the same kind of thing, and that's winning football long term. You know who else is that? Patriots, the Ravens, the Steelers. You know, these teams are always in it. Andy Reid does a great job of that. Look with the Chiefs. Offensive line's usually good. Defensive line usually does its job. Well, the Packers did it for a long time. So it's like
that offensive line.
Winning culture. It's not that you have to draft them early. You have to just build the core of the team, and the Lions are building that system. And I'm rooting for Dan Campbell.
Well,
I just wanted to gush about Dan Campbell because I was excited for him to get a comeback win on the road against the Super Bowl champs. That was awesome.
They have a hell of a victory, but the thing is, they have another tough test next week. They have Seattle. We'll get into that next week, but they have another one. Not Detroit, but Seattle is my dark horse for Super Bowl for the NFC.
That's a physical matchup. Those teams mirror each other, and that's another team that kind of like Pete Carroll kind of did a lot of what Dan Campbell's trying to do now.
Yep.
So it's like those two. That's going to be fun to watch. That's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, but Geno Smith has a few more weapons than Patrick Mahomes had last night.
I'm sure.
The Lions are faced, but
No, like to go against
agree.
Metcalf and Lockett. I don't care because the one thing I was impressed actually about with the Lions last night was actually their secondary played pretty well last night.
Gardner Johnson was a hell of an addition. Brian Branch showed out as a freaking defensive rookie. I mean, come on.
The Lions GM, and you know what? Hats off to him.
Calm down, Ben. Calm down.
Happy birthday,
Lions,
Ben, tomorrow. Happy
where were their
35th
flaws?
birthday, Ben.
Boom, we're going to go ahead and get these
David
guys. This is what we needed. Boom. They got their guy. They got what they fixed some holes, and my God, they're young guys stepping up. You just love to see it.
Why are we overhyping Jordan Love?
I don't think you're overhyping him at all.
Hold on. Anthony's going in on wing. We're trying to talk about
Well, on Jordan Love, I just want to stir the pot here a little bit. There's some rumors.
hype. We just want to see him start.
Well,
We're excited. He's looked good in preseason.
I'm going to stir it up a little bit. What if Jordan Love looks good? There's going to be a certain group of people that hated a certain coach for wanting Jordan Love.
B-Flow. Yeah,
That would've-
you see where? By the way, a side note: where do you think Myles Gaskin went?
Oh, he
Hold
got
on.
cut too. By the way.
Brian Flores wanted him. Bill Belichick wanted him. Harbaugh in Baltimore wanted him. There was plenty of teams.
Where was he cut?
Love.
He was cut from the Vikings too.
Yeah, I
Poor
think
guy.
today or this week. But dude, if
guy.
Jordan Love shows out, it's just going to be typical Dolphins.
If he comes out wins without Christian Watson this weekend, that's going to be a statement to him because that's wide receiver 1 right now on the depth chart. So we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Damn it, I just knocked crap off my desk. Anyways, all right. We're going to jump into the preview. The review, Chiefs had a very tough loss at home. Yes, Jones and Kelsey were out, but there's no asterisk next to it because it's an NFL game. You played till the end.
Yep.
Kadarius Toney's going to be wide receiver 9 by next week, so it's okay.
His first loss. I think it's his first loss in an opener. I think it's his first loss. It's his first game of his career.
Actually, I think you're right. I think
His
you're
first
right.
loss. He was 11-0 before last night.
The last 4 or 5 weeks opening, he's been like phenomenal.
Yeah.
But he also had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelsey every single week. But
Oh, you need weapons to win? I never knew.
we'll get into the the preview for next week for the Chiefs. They'll come back. Andy Reid's always going to have the team prepared. Steve Spagnuolo is a good defensive coordinator. Matt Nagy's a decent offensive coordinator underneath Reid because he guides him. So we're jumping to the week 1 preview. For
We're here, buddy. We're here.
What are you doing?
My light fell. I'm trying to fix it.
Thomas Edison in the corner.
I think I know what it was. I think it didn't want to shine on Ohio State. That's why.
Is that it? No, it was loose and it fell.
All right, week 1, starting at the 1:00 games, a banger coming right out. And big news, cough, cough, Nick Bosa just got signed an extension facing Kenny Pickett and the Steelers. This one's going to be a grinder. I'm going to love it.
I mean, you got Nick Bosa getting his contract. You got TJ Watt. So, I mean, you already have the 2 elite pass rushers in the league. Yeah. You got 2 teams that are physical at the line of scrimmage. You got 2 teams that want to run at you. Kenny Pickett has looked good. I have a good feeling that Kenny Pickett is going to be a good quarterback. You know, I kind of questioned the pick after watching the Senior Bowl. But, you know, the Steelers, the reason I didn't question too much is because the Steelers, they know they're built so well. They just identify between coaches and players. You either fit or you don't. If you don't fit, we're not taking it. If we draft you and you don't fit right away after a while, you know, we're going to move on. You know, they do a really good job of finding guys that fit. And the 49ers, they have the physicality. They have their weapons. You know, they really mirror each other. You have the quarterback situation, young quarterback starting for both teams. So it's going to be interesting to watch this game. I think it's going to be fun. And I do think that both teams are contenders in their respective conferences. And I don't know why people aren't talking about the Steelers enough. I think
because of Kenny Pickett. All because of Kenny Pickett.
And I'm telling you right now, the Steelers are not to be slept on because
Pickett looks like he's the real deal, dude. Like,
yeah, he looks legit. Like, I mean, he looks. If a team like with there's no disrespect to Jared Goff or Jimmy Garoppolo, they're good quarterbacks, not great, but
dude, I wouldn't call it an upset.
Those teams went to the Super Bowl, right, with their respective teams. To me, Kenny Pickett looks even better than those two, and that's just on the low level. So I really think that the Steelers easily could be in a Super Bowl with Kenny Pickett within the next couple of years. And I think they're going to be
weapons.
Yeah.
Weapons.
Pickett, Deontay Johnson. Harris hasn't done anything with their young rookie back. Look good.
Pat Fryermuth, secret weapon.
I love George Pickens, and I love George Pickens.
Yep. And so
Pickens is wide receiver 1. Yeah. No question.
So they got 2 good young stud tight ends. And if Najee Harris doesn't do it, they have the young guy stepping up. So it's
Jalen Warren.
Yep. So, I mean, and their defense is always solid. So, this is going to be a fun game. And you'd already know what the 49ers are going to bring. They have questions. Will their defense transfer over without DeMeco Ryans?
Brock Purdy, biggest question to see how his arm is.
Right. And Brock Purdy, we know, is an intelligent guy. He knew the offense really well. You know, he was trying to bring along Trey Lance. He knew that he learned the offense so much. He was actually trying to help get Trey Lance up to speed, which is wild.
Because he's a bust.
Yeah, but Brock Purdy did a fantastic job last year. So, and he came in, dropped the hat against Miami. It just looked like a stud. Like, Miami was throwing all kind of blitzes at him, and he was like tearing them up. It's like that was pretty impressive because Miami threw all kind of crazy blitzes at him, and he still found the receiver. So this is going to be a fun game. I'm excited about it. Brock Purdy is not someone who's shaking easily, so this is going to be a game, and I think is going to be definitely might be game of the week. We'll see.
That's what I'm saying. It's one to lead off with right off the bat. I mean, 1:00. It's probably going to be your 1:00 featured game across the country for this because there's 2 major fan bases along the. I mean, they're if you think of like top 5 fan bases in the NFL, Steelers and 49ers are always like in that conversation. So, they're going to make it the national Fox game at 1:00.
We had a 5 Super Bowls, 6 Super Bowls.
On the spot. Who's your pick there, Evan? Steelers. I like it. The upset. All right. I wouldn't call it big of an upset because Steelers are up and coming. 49ers got a bunch of questions. Their secondary had some reshuffling. They lost Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward in the back end, so they need Hufanga to be that guy.
I'm calling Steelers. I think Steelers do win that game. I think the 49ers, I don't think they're a bad team, obviously. I think it's going to be a slugfest, but I think the Steelers are going to pull this one out. But I think the 49ers are going to be kind of not slow to start, but I think they're going to be
They're
kind
gonna
of
be rusty.
yeah. They're going to
One
be
thing that's not being brought up too.
what's that?
3 hours time difference. You're going from West
Yeah.
Coast to East Coast, and you've been in West Coast for the last how long? Now
Right.
your first game is East Coast, and you got to.
Yep.
You
And
gotta
a
travel.
1:00 game on the East Coast, that's even harder.
That's
So-
9 o'clock on your schedule, on your old schedule. So you got to wake up earlier in your mind and everything. So I'm going to take the Steelers for a little bit of an upset, just because of the
there you
fact
go.
I got to see how Purdy is. Like, is that arm really? Yes, we saw him in preseason a little bit. Yes, we saw him in camp throw. But the thing is, it's different when you've got T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, Cameron Hayward coming at you. Those are all some mean pass rushers, and they're going to be up in his grill. And the 49ers have been known to have a couple holes on their offensive line, not their left tackle, not their left guard, but more of their right side. So
They're missing
see what
McGlinchey this
TJ
year
Watt
for sure.
rushes.
They're gonna struggle without McGlinchey there.
So that's what I'm saying. I gotta see how McCaffrey does, because McCaffrey's coming out healthy for the first time in a while. So we're gonna see how he does. I'm taking the Steelers, sweep across the board. Next 1:00 game, another AFC North matchup: Bengals and Browns at Cleveland.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I like this game. I really still Burrow. Obviously, he's not. Oh, he's healthy, but he got a little banged up over the preseason a little bit. But they're trying to get back. They're slowly but surely seem to be like trying to fix their issues. Like after losing the Super Bowl, they try to fix the offensive line, and it seems like they're finally headed in the right direction. Then you got the questions with Joe Mixon, what's going on with him, and they've quietly added Irv Smith at tight end, which to me is a upgrade over Hurst, but same issue with Hurst.
Smith is an upgrade over Hayden Hurst.
Well, from a blocking perspective, really, but Hurst is good, but he's so back and forth. Like he's so inconsistent. But he found his footing there with the Bengals, but the Bengals didn't want to pay him for some reason. So I think Irv Smith is a good fit for them. I don't know where they go from here. If that offensive line is better, I think it's really they're gonna be good. But I don't see the Bengals losing this game at all. I think the Bengals are gonna make a statement week 1. For some reason, I don't really trust the Browns. I feel like the Browns are.
They just had to shuffle their secondary. They just cut Greedy Williams recently, and also who's the other corner that they drafted high? They end up he's iffy and he's injured right now too.
Yep. So
their secondary is going to get torched because all three of the receivers with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Boyd are all healthy.
And no one talks about Boyd in that offense. No one talks about Tyler Boyd. He is such a good slot receiver. He's so good. He's like how Tyler Lockett is in Seattle as the wide receiver 3, but he's just the inside wide receiver.
Lockett can play inside and outside.
Yeah, but it's just usage that he's inside. But Tyler Boyd is so good inside. And I know he doesn't put up the gaudy numbers, but he comes up with some big catches.
You had a crush on him in the draft. That's what it is.
Watch Boyd in the Bengals when Joe Burrow needs a play. It's Tyler Boyd he goes to a lot.
I'm seeing T. Higgins a lot more than Boyd lately. Like last year in that Chiefs game when they had to come down and tie the game, who was he threw to down the whole side? It was Higgins. Higgins is evolving into that dude, man. Like, whoo! I love me some T. Higgins, but
he's a good receiver.
I'm taking the Bengals because of the fact I think Joey B comes out and says, my calf is fine, y'all. Shut up about it. We're not going to talk about it. We're good. Well, so Mason's going to have a good game.
He's tough. He'll play through it.
Deshaun Watson, he may show some flashes of what he used to look like, but oh, man.
That year off, man.
He's got more talent also at wide receiver. He has Cooper, but he also has a guy in Cedric Tillman as a rookie that looks good. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a solid wide receiver, 2 or 3. Now, they also have the rotation of tight ends. How are they going to use them? You have a couple different ones. You have Njoku's always like the lead depth guy, but then he's barely used throughout the season. So I'm still going to take the Bengals just because of the defense as well. I mean, that front 7 is nasty.
Yeah, they're
Ray Hendrickson on Dark Horse Defensive Player of the Year for that pick.
Their defensive players are kind of unsung heroes. Their defense is doesn't get talked about as much. That defense is good. Top
All
to
right.
bottom, they have some
You
talent.
taking the Bengals?
I'm
Brett taking the Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals.
Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Bengals. I still think Garrett's gonna have a good game. I still think Chubb's gonna run for 100, but
Oh,
they don't have enough firepower.
Because you have him for fantasy. Is that why?
No.
Okay.
But we'll see if Watson is back. That's going to be the biggest factor here too.
Yeah.
If Watson's back, then I mean this could be.
Don't sleep on their O line, right? The Browns have a very good O line.
Yeah.
They lost a couple pieces,
but they're better. The Bengals wish they had the Browns O line. Let's just put it.
Yes, but the Browns wish they had the rest of the team.
Of course, I'm just saying, and they wish they had Chubb because he's better to mix it. But let's
all right. Next game up, another sweep across the board with the Bengals. Next game up, we're going to make this short and sweet. Buccaneers and Vikings. I'm taking the Vikes. I don't trust Baker Mayfield. I don't.
Madison's going to have a great
game. Offensive line for the Bucs because they lost Donovan Smith. They lost Shaq Mason. They lost Ryan Jensen for the year. Baker Mayfield's going to get obliterated.
Evans is likely going to be looking to want to get out.
Yeah, but they just said there's no extension right now. So guess what? Yeah. If a team comes in, hey, Tampa Bay, we got a first for you, and next thing you know, they're going to be like,
he's man crushing on Flo. He's man crushing on Flow right now.
But anyways,
I think the Buccaneers would be smart to trade Evans right now. Fire sale
with a quarterback class of the decade. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Vikings across the board.
Oh, yeah. It's very hard for me to cheer for Flo, but yeah, Flo's gonna have a good game. Flo's a great defensive coordinator.
Take your Miami bias out of it a little bit.
Not biased. He's just hilarious. Those press conferences still put me to sleep. That's what I do to go to sleep at night. But Flo, no, I will give him credit. He's a phenomenal defensive coordinator, and I actually think that the defense, surprisingly, even though they lost a lot of pieces with the Vikings, is gonna show up on Sunday. He does a lot with nothing.
It's hard to someone to mold gold out of crap.
But I'll tell you, in Miami, one thing about Flo is, and this is something to keep an eye on with the Bengals. I know they lost a lot of pieces. He's very, very detail oriented.
Yeah.
So he very much pays attention to the details, the fine details and tendencies. If you have a tendency to do something, he will find it.
Yeah.
And he will try to expose it if he can. The Shanahans know that all too well. In the Super Bowl, the Patriots versus the Rams, he exposed that tendency. And he found it and he exploited it. So that's something to keep in mind with the Vikings. Just watch out this year.
Yeah. We're all taking the Vikings. Like I said, the defense may keep this game close for Tampa because they still got a lot of pieces there. Mm-hmm. But I still the defenses break eventually when the offense.
And they're going to honestly, that O line lost its main core. Ryan Jensen not being there anymore.
Shaq Mason is a top level guard, and he got traded to the Texans.
And no Jensen. Jensen's done. Jensen's done. Right.
That's what I'm saying. All three members are gone. Yeah. So Baker's gonna run for his life like he was in Carolina last year. So that's a sweep. Next one. Wow. Yeah, this is definitely one of those corner Buffalo Wild Wing TVs of the 14 inches no one pays attention to. The Cardinals and the Commanders. I'm going to take the Commanders because I think Sam Howitzer is going to light it up, baby. He looks good. Sam Howitzer looked good in camp in preseason. McLaurin's healthy for the most part right now.
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson's going to ball out. You got the combo of Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson. Offensive line has gotten much better.
The enemy's there.
And then the Black Cloud is gone. The old owner's gone. Mr. Snyder's gone. You have a new
Gainwell is going to have his breakout. Oh, never mind.
Huh?
Gainwell.
Not Gainwell. Oh, what are the Memphis backs?
Maybe Chase Young will show up. We'll have a Chase Young sighting.
Chase Young will show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for half until he gets injured again?
I've been waiting for that to show up. I feel like it's like Albert Haynesworth all over.
But the Cardinals are the number one draft pick projection right now. Like it's
I don't see
a $45 million player.
Now hold on. What if this happens? Like I'm sorry, I keep calling the Redskins. Sorry, Commander. It's what I grew up with, folks. I can't help it. The Commanders, they come out like 21-0 or 28-0 at half. And Josh Dobbs is throwing like 3 picks. As a coach, a young coach making a statement, and you want to get your fan base riled up for the 5 fans you have in that stadium that hasn't left yet, or watching the TV, Clayton Tune, baby. Put in the rookie and see what he's got.
Why not?
He's looked good in camp. Put in Clayton Tune, Rondale Moore, Hollywood Brown, you got some weapons there. Like,
Well, if he's not ready at the same time, if they feel
Zach
he's
Ertz,
ready, that's one thing. But
put him in and just see what he does. Who knows?
I
And
make
then he'd be
Gibson, by the
obliterated
way,
by
that came
Jonathan
up.
Allen. Yeah, the spread right now is
+7
for Washington. When's the last time that's happened? -7 for Washington in a game with a first-year starting QB.
Unbelievable.
And
you
you know, Sam
what would
Howell has an arm, and he's
He
better
looked
than people
good.
give him credit for. I'm not saying he's going to be a franchise quarterback, but you know, he could be one of those guys
Jimmy
who's
Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins.
If he
he's
struggles,
got
put in Jacoby. It's all good.
right. I mean,
Put in
like
Jacoby.
he very well could be
now
one
you
of
get
those
off the show, Evan.
mid-tier
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
I don't like Jacoby. It's just funny how he ends up in these spots. It's all he'll get a start or two, you know it. Jacoby always finds his spot, you know that.
But you know, when I say that, I'm not disrespecting like Jimmy Garoppolo or any of those guys.
So,
But that's
Commanders?
about the level he's at.
Yeah.
Commanders to my right.
Commanders, yeah.
100%.
Okay, Commanders down low.
Yep.
Are you going to be the weird wolf pack and go freaking?
No, I'm going to go. There's an upset coming for me though. There's a big upset coming.
I swear to God, if you pick the Bears, I'm leaving the
No,
show.
not that.
I swear to God, Evan.
No,
All
there's
right,
a game. If you guys don't pick the upset with me, I'll be surprised.
Moving. This is a fun game for me, even though the spread is 4.5 for the opposing team traveling to Jacksonville versus Indianapolis.
There we go.
You have Anthony
there's my
Richardson.
upset
People love his talent, but they're without Jonathan Taylor, so they don't have. Zach Moss is also injured still, so they're hurting on the running game. So it's going to have to rely on Anthony Richardson. But I think Jags take the win here. I think Calvin Ridley coming out. I think with Zay Jones, with Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, like this offense is loaded, and the Colts are hurting right now on defense. They lost a couple people here and there, like Bobby O'Keefe on the line, and they're missing another edge guy. I don't know. Darius Leonard is out now with a concussion again. He's always out with a concussion every beginning of the year. Every time we open up a season, he's injured. And I just think the Jags, they take this. All right, Evan, you go last because you said you want to upset. All right, Brett, you go.
Go ahead. I really don't see the Colts winning this one. I just don't see it.
I do.
Although, don't sleep on Evan Hall getting carries and doing well with the Colts there.
Evan Hall might be good, yeah, but
that defense is solid. They have some talent there.
Against the run.
But like you said, no.
They suck again. Go look at their stats against the run last year. They're 29th, 30th.
Yeah, even with Leonard, even if they had Leonard in, but Leonard's out, and it's like
ETN and Tank Bigsby is about to have a day.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't see this. I think the Colts are going to be building. I think they're going to have a valiant year. I think they're going to like show some toughness. I think this is the year that Trevor Lawrence shows the world who he is.
I do too, but this is Shane Steichen. I like him as a coach. They're not good against the run, and if you remember the last couple of years, when these teams play, when Jacksonville was not great and Trevor Lawrence was developing, and the Colts were good, they always upset each other. This has always been a sort of a rivalry with each other.
The first 2 years of Trevor Lawrence. This is now the third year, and he's going to take the next step.
No, I agree, but he's not at home. I would say 100% the Jags. Going on the road to Indianapolis, I have this really sneaky feeling with Anthony Richardson. If he runs the ball, he comes out. I have a really good feeling. I have this feeling this is the upset special.
I like Richardson's upside, but it's just I don't think.
I think this is just an upset for Jags. I think Jags have this expectation where they already won the division, and it's AFC South is theirs without even trying.
I mean, yeah, who's there?
The same way there was a letdown for the Chiefs last night. I understand the weapons, but the defense. If Steichen is a smart guy, he's a smart offensive guy. If he utilizes the running game and utilizes Richardson's speed and athleticism, they can stay up with them. I'm just telling you, they can stay up with them. It's in Indianapolis, your hometown. It's in Indiana.
I think it's Indianapolis, but I don't know. I feel like
I'm just telling you, it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a tight game.
I could believe it's a tight game. I could believe that because of rivalry, it's physical. You know, I could believe there might be a tight game. But
I don't trust Tannehill, Vogel.
But
Tannehill, not Tannehill. It's pronounced Tannehill.
Something is telling me that Trevor Lawrence just lights it up. The Jaguars come out swinging. They like 300 yards passing, Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley have a day.
Zay Jones.
And
You have the big three there.
Brenton
Ingram,
Strange, the
Ingram
rookie
too.
tight end, I could see him getting some looks. You know, they already have Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram's going to be the guy
Yep.
getting the looks.
Yep.
Man. Strange is
And,
more going to be a blocking tight end.
Well, no,
I still believe
I
their
can see
defense.
I can see Strange getting some looks in there. So I think the Jaguars are going to win this game.
They signed Ingram too big of a deal, man. That they weren't.
Oh
they're
no,
not gonna give
he's
him
going to
on
be
the
it. But they have, just so you know, they have 2 tight ends listed, and they Doug Peterson uses 2 tight end sets a lot.
Maybe a red zone steal every now and then, but I just don't think he's going to be like
But
this guy for fantasy and
a lot of no, I'm not talking about all that. I'm just talking about just options. And then look at their backfield: ETN, Bigsby, Jerry Johnson, Hasty. You know, it's just a lot to deal with. So I think this is going to be a
So
good.
we got our first lone wolf. Evan takes the upset with the Colts. Looks like him and Tua have lost their minds together. All right. Yes. I made
What
a shot at
happens when
Tua.
the Colts win? Will I get an apology?
No, we're just going to tell you were wrong when they lost.
I
All right.
say, I'm not saying it's going to be like it's a bad pick because you don't know what these divisions.
I know it's just the history. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, the Colts had to win, and then the Jags ruined it for them. Like,
Yeah, I do
They don't
remember
like
that.
each other. They don't like each other.
They like playing spoiler. It's like the Dolphins
They spoil
and
each
Jets
other.
used to do that to
Yeah.
each other.
Because
It was-
Trevor Lawrence is
to
a
play spoiler
better
to each other.
QB than Phillip Rivers retiring is. That's why.
I
But
just have a
moving
feeling their
on,
defense might
yeah.
let them down. Their
NFC
defense
South,
is on the run. I'm just telling you, from all the stuff I've been reading, the stuff I looked at their stats. Like I'm just looking at their run defense is awful in Jacksonville. Awful.
I mean, but they still need to pass.
I understand. I think it's going to be a tight game. I'm just
The NFC South matchup coming up: Panthers versus Falcons. Listen. I think Panthers are going to be a top 10 pick. It's not that I don't think Bryce isn't going to be good. His offensive line has already shown he's got problems there. DJ Chark is already out, so you got to put in Jonathan Mingo. I'm not saying he can't live up to the task, but Adam Thielen's also injury prone, and he can get injured mid-game anytime. You got Chuba and Miles Sanders, who are nice backfield to kind of have a committee, but the Falcons have just loaded up on defense. They have had one of the best free agent hauls that I've seen in a while, and Terry Fontenot had a hell of an offseason in the draft, bringing in Zach Harrison on the edge, Bijan as your top weapon on offense now for the run game and the pass game possibly. Drake London evolving a second year, Kyle Pitts trading for the tight end who they used to have back in Tennessee, back on Arthur Smith, have an inline tight end, Jonnu Smith. Desmond Ridder showed flashes last year. I think they win big, and the Panthers are not winning versus this game. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Do you guys have the floor?
I can't believe you forgot to mention Cordero Patterson, what he's been in that offense there in Atlanta.
Bijan's the next dude.
I get it, but you still have more than one person to worry about. You still got Cordero Patterson, who they have as a J, the Joker, who can.
He's running back 3 on the.
No. Look at their depth chart. They have him listed as Joker, which means they're going to move him all around. So he's going to be moved around.
It's a special name for running back 3. They didn't want to make him feel.
Cordero Patterson's a player to worry about. Now, Mac Hollins, like the receiver room, though, is a little questionable. I like Mac Hollins, very confident guy, decent receiver option, very good special teams player, good blocker, but which is what they like in this style of offense. But that's the biggest really question. But when you have Kyle Pitts, who his rookie year went for 1,000 yards at tight end at a position that's not easy, and then when he dropped off, learning how to do the other aspects of tight end, people thought he wasn't a good pick. He's still a fantastic player. Drake London, like you said, is coming out. And then don't forget Tyler Algier behind Bijan Robinson. So when Bijan Robinson's is out, you got Tyler Algier, who's a big physical, fast running back. So you have a lot of things to deal with, and I don't think the Panthers are prepared to deal with it. On the flip side, the defense of the Falcons is getting better. They have they signed some experience with Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree, AJ Terrell, and Jesse Bates. AJ Terrell is a fantastic young up and coming corner. Jesse Bates, I did love.
Jesse Bates is up and coming corner.
No, AJ Terrell is.
Yeah. I
Jesse
was like,
Bates is a fantastic safety that they added. I love that for
Yeah.
the young secondary. Jeff Okuda, we don't know.
David Amenyata, also Calais
Yep.
Campbell on the defensive line to pair with Grady Jarrett.
Zach, and I'm going to mention Joe Gaziano is a guy that I like. He's a good depth guy who gets interior rush, who's good rotation. But Zach Harrison was somebody I really liked coming out of Ohio State. Big fan of how he plays the game. I mean, I've been honest about Ohio State guys, but I love watching him play. He's physical. He gets home, and he's one of those guys. I watch him for the Falcons. I think, and I mentioned all Falcon stuff, but there's a reason for it. I don't think the Panthers are built to win now. Could surprise you, but I think they're a single-digit win team. I think they're about a 5-win team. I think the Falcons are going to run all over them. I think the Falcons are going to make a statement. I think the Falcons are going to have a good year, and I think Arthur Smith has them playing well. And to me, I think this is a lopsided win, Falcons.
Falcons. Who are you taking, Evan?
Dirty Bird.
Okay, another sweep.
But do we believe in Desmond Ridder, though?
I do.
I'm not sure yet.
I've been a Desmond Ridder backer since he was in the playoffs.
Will he be yanked?
Go to toe with Alabama.
What's his leash? Huh?
He gets this year. He gets a year. But I mean, if the Falcons are kind of in it, and then he starts to struggle, maybe. But,
if they go 4-13, they're getting rid of him. If they go 6 or 7 wins, they're going to hang on to him because they want to see him grow. It's not that they expect playoffs this year. Like every team says, "Oh yeah, our chance of Super Bowl every year." No, there's certain like Green Bay. They know they probably don't expect a Super Bowl this year.
Well,
they want to see Love grow. So that's what same thing with Ridder. They want to be able to see it on the field of why they picked him.
But when I was at the Senior Bowl, one thing I saw from Ridder is he had a rough day one. Sam Howell kind of had a rough day one. Kenny Pickett. There were some times where I'm like, he's doing check downs. He kind of bothered me a little bit with that. And there's some questions with all these guys. Well, Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder got better every day. And Desmond Ridder, there was times where I'm like, man, he's struggling in this aspect. Next day, looking better. So he's a guy that can get better. His ceiling, I don't know. I mean, I feel like he's, and it sounds like a cop-out, but he's a lot like Ryan Tannehill. So he could be an above-average quarterback to a good quarterback, but can he meet that upper echelon? Can you win a Super Bowl with him? We'll see. I think his ceiling, as far as playing level goes, maybe like a Joe Flacco. So, but I think his floor, honestly, it's I don't know that he's a franchise guy, but I think he can be that guy, and we've seen this system work with different quarterbacks with the Shanahan style system, which is what this is a variation of. It works with quarterbacks without having them to do without them being elite. So,
I just think Ritter's got it, man. I've just been a Ridder guy since he was in Cincinnati with Fickle, and him showing the resiliency. Like the defense finally broke in Cincinnati, and he had a couple receivers drop passes in that playoff game versus Alabama. That game was 16-6 for the longest time in that game, and it finally broke about mid-fourth quarter because the defense broke. So, yeah, I'm taking the Falcons. Like I said, Bryce, I got to see what he's got. I understand he was a high draft pick, what the Panthers gave up for him, but you got to show you're worth it in week 1 versus divisional opponent in their house.
I'm worried about Bryce, but I also think Bryce has some athletic ability and play. But I mean, but the NFL is. I think it's going to be. I think he's going to start out a little slow. Just me.
Well, then, yeah. I mean, I think he starts out slow, but I don't know. I think they're going to lean on that run game with Chuba and Miles to start off with. They kind of give them that space to see if they can bring down the safeties and then see if they can hit some outside passes with Thielen or Mingo. We'll see. But that's a sweep across the board. Next game, Texans and Ravens still at 1 o'clock, 9.5 spread for Baltimore. I think Lamar says, I'm back. And Texans, yes, they're going to be a scrappy team. They added plenty of veterans in the free agency. Stroud, I don't know. This is going to be – Baltimore usually has a solid front seven. Their edge is usually solid. I'm taking Baltimore. Maybe
I think it may be less than 9.5 in the spread, but maybe a touchdown at the end. But Baltimore, I think, is just going to run away with this.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'll put it this way. I think the Texans make it look like a game early on, like for the first quarter, and then I just think that the Ravens run away with it. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens just punch them in the mouth.
Yeah, biggest spread of the week. It's the biggest spread of the week.
I want to see D'Amico Ryans have a fantastic career with the Texans, and I think maybe he will because I think they're like sneakily doing things the right way, and they're having good drafts. They had a good draft this year, so but I think the Ravens do run away with this game.
Odell Beckham's gonna have a good first game.
He's already injured.
Oh, that's true.
He already pulled his hammy in practice. He's already injured. The guy
is he out for sure game one?
I don't know. It's up in the air. That's what the report said. Now, Zay Flowers stock. Grab him if you don't.
He's going to do well. I just think the first game, Lamar back, he's going to have his mojo first game.
Give Odell Beckham a break a little bit because he did miss the entire year because he got hurt.
That was his fault.
No, I know, but he hurt his knee in the Super Bowl though. So I
get it, but he also hurt it again when he was rehabbing because he overdid it. That's what I'm saying. It's his own fault.
It is, but I mean, he's trying. He was hungry to come back, so I'll give him that. He's not like, oh, whatever. He was like hungry to come back, so I'll give him that.
Yeah. Next matchup, since we sweep that one, Titans and Saints. This is going to be a scrappy game. Saints always got a good defense. Mike Vrabel's always got his team ready to scrap. I don't care who's out there as quarterback. He can bring back Matt Hasselbeck if he wants to, or Kerry Collins. Doesn't matter. Bring back any Titan quarterback. He'll make it work somehow. Just Vrabel is that guy, man. He is just the ultimate motivator. He's a good schemer, and that's the thing. It's in the Saints' house. They only have a -3 advantage, which is a push and a pick'em game. I'm going to take the Titans in the upset because I don't trust Derek Carr. They went 5-6 wins with Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and Josh Jacobs last year. One of the best offensive layouts on paper, and had leading rusher Devontae Adams balled out. And you're telling me you couldn't produce with that, and now you expect him to walk in the door to New Orleans and produce? No. I think, and Alvin Kamara suspended. Give me the Titans in the upset. Derrick Henry runs all over the Superdome.
I disagree. I think the Saints are going to win this game.
Derek Carr back up.
I think the Saints are better than people give them credit for. I think the quarterback situation really was the hold up for them. I like their running back room, even without, which is interesting that they moved Kirk Merritt to running back. It's kind of funny. Kid is explosive, but I'm like, he was a wide receiver. But anyway, don't forget, they still have Taysom Hill that they like to use and move around. That's always, he's always an athlete and a mismatch. Traquan Smith is explosive. Chris Olave is a fantastic receiver. Obviously, whatever they have, whenever Michael Thomas comes back in 2028. But here's where people forget about the Saints is their defense. Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson, Pete Werner, Demario Davis, Zach Bond. They got. This is a good defense. They still have Matthew. They still have Marshawn Lattimore, who people forgot at one point was a top corner, who is still a good corner on a team that's underperformed. So and the Saints defense was good last year.
Ohio State sign's glaring, man. All the players you like.
Sorry.
Costanza, are you awake?
But
I'm listening.
The Saints, I think, win. And Derek Carr had his worst season, I think, last year. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to make excuses. He did not perform like he should have. But the year before, Derek Carr put the Raiders on his back. All the issues they had, all the situation they had, he even, was a leader when it came to Ruggs. He put everything to the side and said someone needs to be there for him. And I know the situation was bad, but he never judged the guy for it. And he showed his teammates, I can be that guy. And now that he's in with the Saints, I think the Saints have a quarterback. Obviously, it's not like Breeze, but it's way better than they've had since Breeze. And I really think Derek Carr is going to have them playing. I think the Saints win this game. I think it's going to be a fun physical matchup, but don't sleep on Kendrick Miller to make a difference right away.
Well, they have Jamal Williams. I think he's going to be the bell cow.
I think so, but don't sleep on Kendra Miller. At some point, I think you're going to start seeing him. I was a
Didn't
big
he get
fan of his
hurt in
draft
practice this week? I swear I saw him get hurt.
He might have. I haven't seen it.
All right, Evan, you're the power swinger.
ABT, anyone but Tannehill.
So the Saints?
All right, so I'm the lone wolf. I'll take the Titans. I just like Vrabel's tenacity, man, and the way he gets the team going.
Who dat?
And I'm not sleeping on Titans at all. This isn't going to be a blowout, but I think the Saints can win this game.
Yeah.
I like
We've
it.
seen Tannehill have bad games, and Henry goes for 200, so there's that too. Also, hey, people forget the Saints have lost a lot of talent on that front seven, though. You lost the pass rusher that they got in the draft. It was the same as Jair Alexander. They let him go. He went up to Minnesota. They got rid of David Amenyata. And Trey Hendrickson has been felt since he left 2 years ago. That's been hurting them.
I was about to say that one kind of hurt them. I know Grandis has been good, but that Trey Hendrickson, that one hurt them.
Hendrickson's a beast, man.
He's one of those guys at the defensive end that you don't take off the field because he can play the run and
rush faster. I'll go ahead and do the.
We'll kind of let's do kind of like quick fire on some of these.
Yeah. Yep. I figure we might want to spend a little bit of time on this. Dolphins, Chargers. Evan, I'll let you go first on this. I want to hear your take.
I just spent time on it previously, and I got a pre-game show, and I heard Bret, you're joining me on the post-game show. I'm very excited about this.
Yes, I am.
Honestly, for me, this game is going to be a very feisty game. But for me, it is a revenge game. I understand about Herbert. I understand about all this kind of stuff. But I think the Vic Fangio scheming, Brandon Staley, Ronaldo Hill is going to make a difference. He was there last year as the DC. They're very prepared for this game in terms of what they're going to see. So unless Mike McDaniel didn't learn his lesson from last season, the Dolphins are going to win this football game. Just because I think the hype on Herbert and everything, I just think this is going to be a great game. I just think, honestly, we're much healthier than we were last year when we went to face them. And I'm less. I said this on the bandwagon. I'm less concerned about Teron Armstead missing this game because we knew he was going to miss games. I'd rather him forget this game because Kendall Lamb is a serviceable left tackle for me. I think he'll do the job that he needs to, and I think they'll adjust. Unlike they did last year, the Dolphins are going to win this game.
So, can I point out one thing? This game to me is a possible down the road into the playoff tiebreaker. Like it could be that getting into the playoffs because of how deep the AFC East is, the AFC West.
Yeah.
Fangio and Ronaldo Hill are the big kickers for me. Like this is these two guys can solve Justin Herbert. They know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, so last year, the Dolphins.
It was their worst game.
Yeah, they got blanked on offense.
But this is the thing with the Chargers. That last year they were dinged up too when they faced them. They still had a good performance on defense. Now you have. This is one of the most underrated signings I love of this offseason. Eric Kendricks going and playing next to Murray as inside linebacker. That is such – hold on. And then you have Bosa and Mack fully healthy. Like, usually they're dinged up. They are ready to go, and you have Teron Armstead out. Now, I don't care how good Kendall Lamb has to play. You are going to be getting both of those edge rushers, and it's going to be a nightmare for Kendall Lamb. You're going to need to bring a tight end in there. And Julian Hill, who's supposed to be this good blocking tight end, he's questionable. So,
well, we still have Tyler Kroft.
Learn how to fall quick.
I'm just telling you, they're going to have to get the ball out of his hands in 3 seconds. If Tua holds on to the ball, forget it.
Yeah.
But if they're balance the attack and they're smart with their throws, I honestly, like I said this on the previous show, you need to start off with running the ball, do some quick slants with Berrios across the middle, jet sweeps with Izukama, quick slants with Hill, get the mojo going. And the key to this game is sustained drives. If the Dolphins think that they're going to do these quick drives down the field, they're going to get smashed. They need to sustain this. Like I actually want them to lose the toss, get the ball, and go on a 5-6 minute, 14, 15 play drive, and keep them sitting on the bench. Like that's what they need to do. They can't be quick on the offense. They can't. They have to make this a very sustained game. I'm just telling you, that's where I see this game.
So Evan takes the Dolphins. Bret, where you go?
He just loves Derwin James, so he's probably going to take the Chargers. But he can't cover 4 receivers. He cannot cover 4 receivers.
So, like, I know
Jack Jones this year, though. Not Jack Jones. Who was the Patriots corner who they brought?
J.C. Jackson's back.
That's who it was.
Yeah. So, man, I don't know, man. This is going to be a tough game for the Dolphins. Uh, I I want to say the Dolphins are going to learn their lesson from that
They are.
just pitiful game against them where they couldn't score. Well, the biggest score was
Tyreek Hill's fumble recovery.
Yeah.
And he was
And
injured
then-
on that play.
yeah,
too.
and then he did catch a bomb later on, which put the game 17-14, but too little, too late. The problem is Tua has struggled against this style of defense. But Evan made the point that Vic Fangio could be a difference maker because I mean Justin Herbert had 367 yards against us last year, but we haven't really got better on defense. I don't know where everybody's saying we've gotten better on defense. I don't know where is it because I don't see who's better on defense. Scheme is the only thing that's different. Talent-wise, without Ramsey, we haven't gotten better. But scheme, I don't know if it's defensive coordinator better.
Mark Williams, Quentin Johnston, Joshua Palmer.
With Howard switching to a zone, with Kader Kohu having to play a lot, with Cam Smith likely having to get some reps. You know, Nick Needham's still out. Where do we go? You're going to need Holland to step up. I just think this is going to be too much. It's on the West Coast, East Coast flying to West Coast. And it's going to be, I think the Chargers are going to win this game.
I'm going with Bret. I think Herbie Hancock reminds the Dolphins on what they missed.
And I just want to recall your game. He was not bombing the ball when he beat us last game. It was all dinky and dunky to Williams and Allen.
But he tore us. He picked the defense apart.
Yeah, of course. But Josh, we couldn't get off the field on third down. That's our struggle, and I think that's where they're going to be the biggest adjustment to our defense.
That's going to be the biggest thing with the front seven for the Dolphins is how do they stop these dinking and dunking because they have Miami.
Going to be another big piece too.
Yeah. Well, you can blame Flores. You can blame Boyer, except the Dolphins have not been able to stop running backs and tight ends from picking them apart all the way back because we have not been able to get linebackers. The last time we were able to do it is when we had Carlos Dansby and Kevin Burnett man in the middle. And until we start getting better linebackers and better front seven, this will continue to happen.
He doesn't like David Long.
I don't dislike David Long. I like David Long. He's not reliable as far as injury concern. Baker's still the problem.
Can I ask you a point?
But Long can do his job, but then you can still isolate Baker. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But the one thing I actually like about this game, a little bit more about Fangio versus Boyer. Boyer watched the game from down low. I like the fact that Fangio's up there and he has Baker relaying everything to everybody. I like the fact that to get the perspective of what's going to be happening during the game and adjusting to what the Chargers are doing on offense, I think is going to make it. I just have this feeling that they're going to, as long the bend not break defense is going to work, and I think the quick strike offense, because we're fully healthy on our offense. Like we're outside of Armstead, we're fully healthy going in. On the Chargers game, we were not fully healthy. I think it's going to be a difference maker.
Well,
and I think honestly, you can do whatever you want. It's a revenge game for them.
Questioning Waddle, how
he was full limit. He's been full. He was full today.
I know. I feel like they're hiding something with him. I hope he is, but he has. I don't know. I'm questioning it because it's like it feels like something's up with Waddle. I'm worried about Waddle because he's a good player. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying I'm hoping it's not more serious.
Evan takes his Dolphins, lone wolf again. All right, so moving on. We're gonna do some rapid fire here, folks, since we're kind of going long, and I'm sorry about that. I should have went ahead and got more earlier cut preview. Eagles and Patriots. I'm taking Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts proves on why they could have won the Super Bowl last year. I think they ball out. I know the Patriots defense is tough, but one thing Belichick's defense always has problems with is mobile QBs. So there's that. I also don't trust Mac Jones. Worth the damn. Juju Smith-Schuster's report of his knee, apparently it's about to blow up, and he's been wearing a offensive lineman's knee brace on his knee because of the fact they think multiple ligaments are about to go. So that's why Kansas City didn't touch him. That's why Pittsburgh moved on from him. He's been playing hurt the last couple years. So, I'm taking the Eagles. And Ramondre Stevenson is dinged up right now, too. Yeah, I'm taking Eagles.
I'll go on Eagles. Eagles win this game.
All right. Another one, Raiders versus Broncos. Jimmy G versus Russ, the cornball.
I'm taking the Raiders. I think they surprise a little bit of people. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, he's got plenty of weapons, folks. Josh Jacobs is back. Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow is still there. Hey, rookie tight end in Las Vegas, Michael Mayer might make some noise. Broncos, I know
Vogel's favorite player in the draft.
I just think the Broncos have a good defense, but Javonte Williams is questionable, like with his health right now because of his knee. Not saying he's not ready to play, but we got to see how he is on those cuts. Jerry Jeudy's not going to play. They lost Tim Patrick. They lost quite a bit of talent. I understand
Peyton is not starting off well.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Raiders.
Broncos.
Raiders.
I'm not sleeping on Sean Payton coming back.
Ripping on Russell Wilson.
He's ripping up his own team before the season even starts.
I don't know. I'll go on Broncos.
Oh,
Coach
Bret.
Gate.
You have trust in the cornball, Russ?
I have trust in Sean Payton, who should have been the
No,
Dolphins coach.
I'm not asking Sean. I'm asking you. Do you have trust in cornball?
He
Russ?
only wanted Peyton to be the quarterback because Tua wouldn't be his quarterback anymore.
I like what Sean Payton could do with Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson isn't as bad as people.
Did you not see the preseason where he was looking exactly like he did last year?
Yeah. Well, I'm not too concerned about it.
I am because he had to tell his quarterback, "You need to stop focusing on Russell Wilson Incorporated." The fact you have to tell your star quarterback to stop focusing on his ego is a problem.
When you if you go back and watch some of the Broncos games last year, not all of that was on
Russ
Russell
was
Wilson.
trash.
No, go back and watch it again. It wasn't as bad.
Trash.
See this? Russell Wilson, trash.
It was as bad as you.
He was
as
trash.
You were saying. If
See
you
this? Empty beer can. Russell Wilson.
Go back, watch the all 22, and watch receivers in the wrong spots. Watch where he's throwing to, where the receiver just stops on a route. Like what just happened.
He had Judy and Sutton. He had talent there. You had tight ends who were able to catch the ball.
Judy, why do we keep talking?
Eric Salbert.
So Judy played for Alabama, so he's all of a sudden an all-pro in the NFL.
Never say he's an all-pro.
At what point is he
there? What I'm saying is Russ. Dude, he did the same thing in Seattle. He lost a run game, and the next thing you know, he went to crap. He had a run game last year.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying it's overstated how his season went.
He's a cornball.
The Raiders. Let's move on.
Raiders. Now it could be felt that Chandler Jones isn't there. That's another big factor too. He's a heck of a pass rusher. Rams Seahawks. Yeah, I think Seahawks take
Seahawks all day.
By like 14. I think they destroy the Rams. Matt Stafford
still
not fully healthy because his elbow didn't get taken care of.
I will definitely go with the Seahawks here. Rams are just I don't know what's happening.
Carroll can go play quarterback. Did you see him throw the ball?
Draft pick right now?
Yeah,
Rams are top 5 draft pick. And Kenneth Walker just got taken off the injury report. He's fully healthy.
Metcalf, Lockett. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Charbonnet and
Kenneth Walker.
Ooh.
And Pete Carroll, I don't care what anybody says.
Great coach.
That guy's a heck of a coach.
Great coach. So we all take Seattle. Cowboys, Giants. Some news popped up today. Tyrone Smith, questionable to play and doesn't know if he's going to play. Left guard, out, doubtful. So now you go against the Giants. Wink Martindale, who's one of the best, if not top 3 defensive coordinators in the NFL, has an elite defense. People I don't care what they say about the Giants. They have an elite defense. They are freaking good. And I'm telling you right now, I think the Giants upset the Cowboys with this news. I know the Cowboys have all these weapons. They added Cooks. But, man, it's going to be hard to try and move the ball against that Giants defense.
Tyler Smith is out.
Tyrone Smith is questionable. They don't know if he's going to play, and the left guard is doubtful. He's not going to play.
Well, Tyler Smith, the left guard, is out.
Yeah.
Or questionable. So Tyron Smith out.
Almost 5 more minutes.
Shocked. But what hurts them is Tyler Smith also being out. Although they're still
that's the blind side. Yeah.
Yep. So there's still an explosive roster as far as run game goes. Tony Pollard hopefully comes back healthy. Brandon Cooks added. It's gonna be a fun game. I'll tell you that much. The Dallas' defense, do not sleep on them, and they are an aggressive bunch. I think this is a defensive game. I'm going to take Dallas to edge this one out. They're going to force Daniel Jones some mistakes, but I don't. This one flip a coin because I think it can go either way. But I'll go Dallas.
Got a lot more talent than they did last year. There too. They
I agree.
Ty added another couple veteran receivers.
I'm going to go with Dallas. The edge just went out.
Okay. Evan, who are you taking?
I do not believe in McCarthy, and Prescott's going to throw 2 picks. Stephen A. is going to have a ball. G-Men win.
Skip Bayless is going to cry, and Bret is a lone wolf again.
I'll take it. Woo!
I forgot a 4 o'clock game, 4:25, the Fox game of the week. My bad. Even my own team because I was in a hurry. The Packers go to Soldier Field, aka Lambeau South, because the Bears have not won there since 5 years ago. So at their own stadium, folks, 5 years ago, they haven't won. What? Yes, Jordan Love is starting. Aaron Rodgers out of town. The media circus is gone. So the biggest thing, even with Christian Watson being out, I love Christian Watson. But this game, to me, is about the trenches. Like LaFleur's system, true offense, that comes from Shanahan and McVay. What do they like to do? Run the ball. So Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, they're better on offensive line. Way better. They always have a top 10 offensive line in Green Bay. I think they're going to run the ball down the Bears' throat, who was, I think, the 31st or the 32nd ranked.
They have Tremaine Edmonds, though.
They were bad.
Tremaine Edmonds, T.J. Edwards, and Jack Sanborn.
They don't know if who was it? If T.J. Edwards is going to play. Though he's questionable, I believe. And yeah, their linebackers were dinged up. But they have 2 rookies starting on the defensive line in Gervin Dexter and Zach Pickens. They showed a couple of flashes in preseason and camp, but I trust Elton Jenkins and John Runyon Jr., Josh Myers, and David Bakhtiari to mow the field. I expect them to throw out the lawnmowers and go with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. And the Packers are better on defensive line than edge well. Rashawn Gary is back. Bears offensive line is missing Tevin Jenkins, and they're starting up a rookie in Jatir Carter. Nate Davis, he's been injury prone all the way up to in preseason, and he missed camp the other day for a personal matter, so I don't know what's going on there. Darnell Wright, I think, might get sunned by Rashawn Gary. I understand he's a first-round pick. I understand he's a top 10 pick, but I think he might have he had trouble in camp with Terrell Lewis. It is almost the same type of build that Rashawn Gary was. And I think it's going to I just think the Bears lose this in the trenches. That's my issue with the Bears. Yeah. Yes, they added DJ Moore. They brought in a couple linebackers and free agents, but their corners are still iffy. Defensive line, edge, offensive line, that's my biggest issue with them.
I think the Packers win this game. The run game is going to make the difference, and their defense, I think, is veteran savvy enough. Like they're going to win this game. I don't think the Bears will have enough on offense, and I think their defense is improved. I just don't think they'll be able to stop that run game and that rushing attack, and I don't think Jordan Love's going to have to carry this offense. I think he's going to be a compliment to the offense at the moment, even with Christian Watson out, but I still think the Packers win this game.
Evan, what do you got?
In the trenches, but I think also Luke Musgrave's going to have a good game. I believe in LaFleur's coach. I believe in LaFleur's. I think the stress of not having Aaron Rodgers there is actually going to let him develop Jordan Love, and I think he doesn't have that stress anymore. I think they're going to go into Soldier Field and take it.
One thing that I loved about, and I understand it's preseason, you have to take it with a grain of salt. I get that, but watching him in preseason, there was poise. He wasn't rattled. You didn't see him like shaking his head, making a bad decision. You didn't see him like getting frustrated. He just went out. And the thing is, if the throws weren't there, he tucked the ball and run. Got what he could.
He's a capable quarterback. He's a good athlete. He
wasn't trying to force stuff. He wasn't trying to make these crazy throws I guess, to try and save a play or something. Like, I saw him do something I saw Rodgers do 4 or 5 years ago. Threw the ball out of bounds. Went to the next play because the play wasn't there and he was about to get sacked. He would rather go 2nd and 10 than 2nd and 20. Yeah. That's something I love about it. And it's not the fact in type of throws he made. It's the poise. It's the calmness. That's what I loved about watching him. And I'm excited because I just trust Green Bay's offensive line. Like the Bears were hyping up Yannick Ngakoue. The last time David Bakhtiari faced Yannick Ngakoue, the last 2 times, 0 pressures, 0 QB hits, 0 sacks. I'm not worried about Yannick Ngakoue. They don't have anybody else outside of that. Justin
they're
Jones
still bottom. I think
they're
still a top 10 pick, so I'm not that worried about the Bears.
Huh?
I'm not worried about the Bears. They're still a top 10 pick.
I told them they might have 2 top 10 picks because they got the Panthers pick, who are going to be top 10, and they might have like 6 and 7 back to back or something like that. And I told the Bears fans, I think they're going to get 6 to 7 wins. There's nothing wrong with that because they're doubling their win total. I think they're going to have a better year than last year, but the offensive line and defensive line is just. But anyways, moving on. Last game we talk about, a divisional favorite of Evans and Bret's. The Bills go up to New York to see if they can ground the Jets and Aaron Rodgers.
Well, actually, they come down into Jersey, but whatever.
The Meadowlands. By the way, have you ever driven through Jersey? I'm telling you, my kids couldn't understand. They roll down the window, and I go, roll up your freaking window. It does stink in Jersey.
But anyways, I know it's like toxic in both of your guys' mouth. Who do you want, Bills or Jets?
Bills.
You know what's crazy about this game? It's closer than people think, but so the Jets went toe to toe with the Bills twice, but I think the Bills win this game.
Me too.
I know their safeties are getting a little up there, but I still think
Hyde is injured and he's nursing an injury right now.
And the biggest question is going to be the middle linebacker position. Matt Milano is still a stud. He's still a damn good linebacker. The other defensive line, Daquan Jones, and Oliver,
great player.
Gregor Rousseau, who's been good.
Miller though.
Miller. And they have Leonard Floyd, AJ Epinesa, Shaq Lawson. All these guys are strong, physical at the point of attack. Because of the offensive line situation in Green Bay, in New York,
I don't is a disaster.
I don't think they're going to. I think the Bills win this game.
Rodgers isn't going to have 5 to 10 seconds like he used to have in Green Bay. He's going to have 3 seconds, and that's it.
And this whole thing with Stephon Diggs is overblown. Stephon Diggs will still show up and play. They have a good young receiver core with Gabe Davis, Deontay Hardy, Khalil Shakur. So they have a good.
Don't forget Dalton Kincaid.
Yep.
And Dawson Knox. They're going to run 2-man sets. They're going to run 2 tight end sets a lot.
Oh yeah, and Dawson Knox is already good. So I really think
$1 million for him,
dude. And their offensive line was Spencer Brown, Deion Dawkins, Connor McGovern, Mitch Morse, which also the starting center for the Jets is Connor McGovern. So that's funny too, just for G-Wiz. But no, I think the Bills win this.
I think the Bills too. I think Rodgers drops the first game just because of the fact that. I just think McDermott's always got his team prepared. You rarely ever see him not being out coached. I'm not saying Saleh is going to be out coaching him or under coaching him, but McDermott's usually the guy that's on top.
I don't think the Bills are going to win. I think the Jets are going to lose. I think the pressure is going to get to them.
I get what you're saying.
I want to see another Rodgers temper tantrum.
I want to see Rodgers with half of his eye sticking out of the helmet on the front page of the New York Post.
Well, I think the Jets have talent. I think they're a better team.
But they're hyped. Honestly, it's one of those things where they've hyped them up so much. Like, they're more hyped than any other team in the NFL.
Well, their defense is going to be.
I was getting ready to say that
their defense is great, but their offense, that's the thing, is their offense could end up screwing them.
Yeah.
Belichick won how many games on special teams and defense alone last year?
Yeah, their defense and their run game is good too. So
they don't know who's starting though. They don't even know who's starting.
That's going to be the big thing with if Breece Hall is healthy. So I think for the Jets, it's going to take a little bit for them to get to where they can be.
And Cook's going to struggle. He needs to be a bell cow. He's going to struggle being committed.
First 6 weeks for the Jets, they face the highest graded pass rushers in the NFL. The offensive line will be tested constantly in New York. Rodgers is going to throw a temper tantrum every week like we saw with Brady in New England or Tampa when plays weren't made. And then, folks, also forget the chemistry that he has to build with Garrett Wilson. I don't care how good Wilson is.
People are saying how good this combo is going to be.
McCole Hardman, Lazard and Cobb are there, but guess what? They're still not in the same offense they used to be. So they got to learn that. I mean,
they're the same offense. It's the same system.
You believe in Mike LaFleur?
Mike LaFleur got fired.
Not Mike LaFleur. Who's the new offensive coordinator?
Nate Hackett.
Hackett. Sorry,
Rodgers' offense.
I don't believe in Hackett. Sorry, I meant to say Hackett. I don't believe in him.
These other younger receivers, they're going to have to learn. They just talked about it today with Jeremy Fowler.
You're talking about those? I thought you were talking about Lazard and Cobb. You're talking about the other guys.
So it's still a variation of that of a different offense. So they still got to learn that on top of all the new hand signals of this Rodgers Hackett offense.
Yeah.
Plus, these young guys have to learn all these audibles. They got to learn all the silent audibles. They got to learn all the hand signals, everything. It's going to cause some chaos because of the fact this Bills defense is going to cause them to try and make a play rather than focusing on what they need to.
And they have honestly, that O-line is.
It's crap. Dwayne Brown's going to get beat.
Mekhi Becton is a disaster.
He
For a
played
guy
better
that
than
size,
he's not as good as where he was drafted.
Let's give them let's give a perspective here. Their tackles are the biggest question for the Jets. Their interior offensive line is nowhere near as bad. Their tackles are the biggest question for them. So, because Elijah Vera Tucker's decent, but their Connor McGovern's decent at center, but their tackles are just Mekhi Becton's just so inconsistent, and he has a lot of talent, but he just doesn't stay in shape. That's his problem.
Well, that's the thing. He's gotten in shape this offseason, but the question is, can he put it together?
And
He's
can he
got
stay healthy?
Can he put it together? They said he did a lot better in preseason. That's why he got the right tackle job. But folks, that reaches the end of our show. We went a little long in the tooth tonight. We did our preview predictions. We did a little review on Kansas City and Detroit. Good game to Detroit. Dan Campbell, any final thoughts for you, Bret or Evan?
No, I'm ready for the season to start, though. Sunday can't get here fast enough.
I cannot wait.
I'm right there with you. I'm excited. I've been excited. I was at work last night. I was watching the game on my phone while I was loading because I didn't want to miss it. Plus, I'm on Ross St. Brown in our league, so I was like, yeah.
All I want to see is Bret 48 hours from now, about 46 hours, in his Dolphins colors, eating crow.
Eating crow? I don't know.
No, because you're going to be bragging how well Tua outdid Herbert, how the offensive line wasn't as bad as you thought. Hill went for 200. The running backs went for 150. You'll be
no, we still have an entire season to go. We still have 16 more games.
Final thoughts. Discussion. Good Lord.
No, 16 games after this game. So
it's okay. Chargers just going to make.
You know what's amazing? I even took the Packers for you.
I just think the Chargers are winning that game.
But I'm sorry, I like Herbert way better than Tua.
I hope I'm wrong.
Let's see what happens. They're both healthy. They both have healthy teams. Let's see what they do.
But Herbert already knew how to fall 2 years ago. Sorry, I couldn't help that.
By the way, can I just say one thing? The reason why I just want to give you guys my whole thing about Tua and the Herbert thing. The reason why I'm always so high giving a chance to a smaller, more detailed quarterback over Drew Brees is because I still have that bias of the day that we chose Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. So we took the athletic guy who could throw it down 80 yards. Didn't work out so well for the Dolphins. I'll did it.
Okay.
Not really.
It didn't work out so well. If we would have,
it wasn't the athletic guy.
We took the big athletic guy over the small guy.
We took the guy who was
Hey, whole other discussion. Save that for the bandwagon.
No, I was doing a comparison.
It's okay. Herbert.
I have Dante Culpepper nightmares in my head.
That was a Danny Green product.
But Herbert can actually throw. That's the problem. Anyway,
Culpepper couldn't.
All right, folks. Thank you for bearing with us tonight and enjoying our show. Remember, we got your six mentally, just like we also got your football, basketball, and wrestling news. But if you have anything for mental health or anything you're having problems with, please don't be afraid to reach out with Bret, Evan, myself, anyone on the network. We're there for you. We have our lines open. If you feel like you need to call someone, there's hotlines out there for veterans at the VA. There's civilians that you can call for help all the time. And you saw my son peeking in the corner. They're saying, it's bedtime, Dad. You got to put us to bed. So I'm going to go ahead and play dad tonight. But just like with football and other sports, we got your six.